This year is dedicated Lezichron Sarah Rivka Basa Rav Nachum and Mendel Lamb. My name is David Warburg, and I'm Sarah's oldest brother-in-law. I've known Sarah for over 35 years, and she was one of the most unusual personalities in my life. While she and I were polar opposites in many personal respects, being with Sarah was always an unusual experience. The Perek we're learning today, Perek Ayin Gimel, the 73rd Perek of Tehillim, was composed by Asaph, a Levi who we believe was a contemporary of David HaMelech. This is the first of a series of Tehillim that follow that are composed by Asaph. In fact, Asaph is named as the author of a total of 12 Tehillim, which makes him among the most named authors, among the most numerous identified authors of Tehillim, second only to David HaMelech. Asaph begins by saying that Hashem is always good to Yisrael, and he then says that he had nearly left Derech Hashem, and explains why. Asaph says that he envied people who are preoccupied with material wealth and physical comfort, or who were wicked. He saw that their actions appeared to pay off as they lived comfortably their whole lives without suffering or having to work too hard. Even natural events like disease and death seem to make less of an impact on them. As a result of this charmed existence, they are arrogant and haughty. The Tehillim recites that there are no pangs concerning their death, no chartzubot concerning their death, and their health, their ulam, is sound. That's the fourth pasuk of the Tehillim. The Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Lamed Aleph Hamid Beis, says that not only do the wicked not tremble and grieve before the day of death, but their hearts are as firm as an edifice, as an ulam, in explaining this Tehillim. Rav Kook noted that the Gemara's commentary on the Tehillim refers to two aspects of life that make people aware of their spiritual side: contemplation of death and a sensitive heart. And these are two separate aspects that will cause that. When contemplating death, we're forced to confront the mortality of our physical side and the fleeting value of worldly pleasures. Those who have lost their way should therefore tremble and grieve, because they'll realize that they've missed out on life's most important acquisitions and accomplishments. They'll regret failing to work toward the more significant goals, the greater satisfactions of perfecting the soul and strengthening their inner spirit. There exists, however, a second so-called wake-up call of the inner spirit, as Rav Kook says. On occasion, the nefesh, the soul, makes its influence felt, and the heart awakens of its own accord. Those who've forgotten their spiritual side and forsaken the path of integrity and morality will feel, says Rav Kook, the biting sting of these pangs of conscience. Yet there are some people that are so thoroughly immersed in evil, that they're insensitive to such feelings. It is as if their hearts are covered with fat, unable to sense the needs of others. Not only do they refuse to consider the implications of death, but their hearts are as firm as an ulam, as an edifice, and they're oblivious to the harm that they cause. To protect us from this spiritual obtuseness, Hashem provided us, says Rav Kook, with a remedy, Torah or mitzvos, which prepare us for all aspects of life. So, returning to the Tehillim, Asaph sees these people indulging whatever they want and succeeding, and thinks that any righteous and modest existence with Yirat Hashem is futile and in vain and for nothing. After all, he says, I behave properly and I've suffered. Asaph is troubled by the age-old question of tzaddik v'ralo, rasha v'tovlo. The righteous suffer and the wicked are rewarded. Of course, this is a theme in other parts of Tanakh, in Eov, as well as in Koheles. Asaph says he initially pondered the issue and could not resolve the dilemma. But when he entered Migdashei Hakel, when he became closer to Hashem, he realized how fleeting and superficial are the lives of those people who he had envied. Everything they have ends when they end. For the righteous, for the tzaddikim, however, this world is just the beginning. For the wicked, that's all there is. Asaph had been bitter and confused. But now that he's with Hashem, as he says metaphorically in the Tehillim, Hashem holds Asaf's hand and guides him, and Asaf describes how Hashem guides him to Olam Hazeh and will greet him in Olam Haba. So he resolves the dilemma of Tzadik V'Ra, Rasha V'Tov, by faith in Hashem. On a personal note, for those who knew Sarah so well and for so long, for the past 8 months, the conundrum of Tzadik V'Ra, Rasha V'Tov, has not been some abstract or distant philosophical query, but an almost daily question that we can't avoid trying to answer. But perhaps we have to learn from Sarah. Sarah encountered many trials and tribulations in her life, some resolvable and some not. But Sarah never envied other people. In all of the years that I knew Sarah, from the age of 16 until her passing, I never saw or heard her envy another person. Sarah, more than most, had reason to ask the question of Tzadik V'Ra, Rasha V'Tov. Sarah always adopted the answer of Asaf, faith in Hashem, plus, it should be added in Sarah's case, an enormous amount of simcha and warmth and humor that enabled her to live with and surmount many issues, and taught us how to deal with people and with life. Yehei Zichra Baruch.